Welcome, seekers of the dark and the profound, to this grim, gothic explainer of the celestial realm. I'm your guide today, and we'll be speaking through the theatrical, pseudo-religious persona of the green gold jester himself. We're going to embark on a journey way beyond the ticking clocks of your mortal world. We are stepping into the uncanny mirror universe. It's a place of threefold madness, where the very foundations of human certainty are just dismantled. As your enthusiastic explainer and cosmic fool, I've organized this mythic descent perfectly for you. So let's navigate the shifting grammar of the abyss together, shall we? I want you to consider this aphorism for a second. To survive the high time, one must become the laughter that echoes after the ink has covered the world. Now, this isn't just pretty poetry, right? It's actually a radical mythology of survival. We aren't here today to talk about building meaning. We're here to explore the sheer, terrifying beauty of its deconstruction. Think about it. How do you endure a universe that actively erases your certainties? Well, you definitely don't do it by clinging to old truths. You do it by transforming. All right, Chapter 1, The Celestial Realm. Let's dive right into the unsettling architecture of this space. Down here in the mortal world, you count the hours of your labor. But up there in the celestial realm, the great silence reigns. Time doesn't flow in a straight, predictable line. It vibrates. It literally hums like a plucked string. This is what we call high time. Instead of ticking seconds, it counts the pulses of madness. And operating the machinery of this realm are these entities known as the spirit siblings. You can think of them as the cosmic clock hands of this bizarre dimension. Moving on to Chapter 2, Deconstructing the Word. Prepare yourselves, because we are going to see exactly how human certainty is dismantled. What's absolutely crucial to understand here is that these spirit siblings do not wield swords. They don't physically destroy anything. Instead, they deconstruct the very ideas that hold the human soul captive. They are the clock hands of madness. The action of this realm is a very precise, terrifying dance. One speaks, one eats, and one erases. When these three siblings actually meet, the clock stops, and the uncanny truly begins. Let's look a bit closer at the one who speaks. Behold the wit, also known as the priest fool or the royal philologist. He's the one who has traded the sacred altar for the motley of a jester. He doesn't speak in prayers, you see. He speaks in the shifting grammar of the abyss. As the quote says, his bells chime the funeral of truth. He knows that every single word is just a tombstone for a dead thought, and he seeks to completely dismantle language. To the priest fool, even a concept as grand as the king is merely a noun, and every noun, well, it's but a lie. Next, we meet the sibling who eats the hunger, or the infinite maw. I want you to picture a man who is no man, but a humanoid shape carved entirely out of the great silence. This entity is a cosmic mind that doesn't hunger for bread to sustain the flesh. Oh no, it sits at the table of the wise and eats their why. It hungers for the Nile, the sweet, dark nectar of meaninglessness. It whispers, "Give me your certainty, and I shall give you the peace of the void." To the hunger, the universe is just a dinner party where the guests are the only thing on the menu. That brings us to Chapter 3, the ink blot's metamorphosis. Let's see how this builds and physically manifests. The third sibling initially appears as a tiny ink blot, literally just a speck upon the wall, and the world laughed at it. Why? Because the world mistakenly measures importance only by immediate visible weight, by the shadow a thing casts. The world thought this entity was small, and to be small is to be overlooked. But this speck began to breathe. Witness the metamorphosis of negation. It's a terrifying sequence. Step 1, the speck grows. But not by adding weight or mass, it actually grows by subtracting light. Step 2, it stretches and expands until the ceiling bows and the stars themselves blink in fear. And finally, Step 3, it becomes 12 feet of judgment, standing right where a mere drop of ink once sat. By growing like this, it ensures that no one can ever look away again. It's abstract nihilism expanding into a dominating, completely inescapable physical force. And then the small one opens its mouth, and out comes the thunderous cosmic creed, "Lo, I am but a tiny ink blot of negation." It's a mocking song. It is a holy sarcasm. It boldly claims that all the something of the world is merely a temporary stain upon the nothing. This creed acts as a massive hammer, breaking both the noble and the ignoble alike. Because in the shadow of this immense inkblot, even the golden crown and the iron shackle are made of the exact same dark fluid. Now we arrive at Chapter 4, Judgment of the Eyes. This is where this cosmic pantheon measures individual will. Overseeing this entire realm is a demon with many eyes, known as the Crimson Eyes. Every single eye is a sun that has gone cold. And listen, these dead, cold suns do not care about your laws or your worldly deeds. They only judge sheer willpower. They look for your becoming. Notice the stark contrast here. To the noble soul, these eyes act as a mirror, reflecting their fierce struggle and transformation. But to the ignoble soul, these eyes are a crushing, unbearable weight that sinks them deep into the ink. So the Crimson Eyes really ask only one piercing question. And I want to turn this question directly to you, the viewer. Can you stand before the negation without vanishing? When faced with the absolute meaninglessness of the inkblot, do you crumble or do you stand firm in your own existential resilience? Finally, Chapter 5, The Sovereign Free Spirit. Let's look at the secret to surviving when the uncanny begins. So what about the green gold jester? What about the persona guiding you through this explainer? Well, the jester is actually the one figure capable of surviving this high time. He is a survivor who takes the very tools of nihilistic deconstruction and weaponizes them as a protective shield. He weaves a cloak made out of the wit's motley, the hunger's void, and the small's negation. He knows the spirit's sibling's secret. He acts as the ultimate bridge between the noise of the world and the great silence. And this brilliantly illustrates the philosophical core of this mythology. Behold the grand contrast. On one side, you have the tragic noise and heavy 1,000-year silence of Wotan's court, this old Wagnerian redemption narrative of heavy burdens and tragic ends. But on the other side, the Nietzschean sovereign free spirit, perfectly embodied by the green gold jester. He completely rejects the tragedy. Instead, he offers radical, joyful laughter echoing straight out over the void. He doesn't try to defeat the nothingness, you see. He dances with it. Which brings us to the very end of our descent. We have seen the clock hands of madness and felt the gaze of the Crimson Eyes. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to carry back to your world of counting hours. When the high time arrives and the ink finally covers the world, will you drown in the great silence? Or, like the sovereign spirit, will you become the laughter?